Good evening, this is eNCA Moneyline, your money guide. My name is Sikim Kabadeli. Coming up on the show tonight, South African Airways says its 90-day turnaround strategy is reaping rewards. More delays with your post, that's if the post office workers follow through on their latest strike threat. And we bring you the latest on government's decision to bar foreigners from owning land in South Africa. But first, your top stories. Anglo-American wants to stop supplying coal to Eskom. It seems black economic empowerment rules are causing a problem at the global miner. Government regulations state that Eskom suppliers must have at least 55% BE ownership. It's now refusing to allow New Largo to enter into a long-term agreement with Anglo's coal division. New Largo is supposed to be the anchor coal supplier to the Kusile power station. If the deal falls through, Eskom will be forced to invest in new coal mines for the next 5 years. Anglo Coal Inyosi is 27% black-owned, with Anglo looking to reduce its stake from 63 to 50%. South African business is going on safari. A delegation of 31 companies is now participating in the outward selling and investment mission to Kenya. The Department of Trade and Industry organized the trip. It's hoping to increase trade between South Africa, Kenya and Tanzania. Kenya boasts a strong agricultural and manufacturing sectors, which make it a key investment destination.
Kenya has been on our radar for trade and investment for quite a long time. I think this has been the opportunity for us to arrive with our partners, Kenya Investment and the Ministry of Economy and Trade. So we've just found that the number of sectors allows us to bring a big delegation, because there's lots of opportunities in the electrotechnical sector, in the ICT sector, the discovery of oil and gas here in Kenya, as well as agriculture and agro-processing. So there is room to do a lot of business in Kenya, and hence why we are here at this point in time.
The post office could be facing yet another strike. The Communications Workers Union has accused the parastatal of targeting its members. The union has now approached the CCMA to prepare for more industrial action. Last week, the post office revealed that 6 of its Tshwane employees had been convicted for contempt of court. That's because they didn't stick to an interdict preventing last year's strike. Thousands of postal workers took part in the crippling strike. The CWU says it's already mobilized its members. And joining us this evening on Moneyline is the General Secretary of the Communications Workers Union. That's Aubrey Chabalala. Aubrey, thanks for your time this evening. How is the post office targeting your members?
Good evening, Siki. Firstly, you'll note that there was an industrial strike, unprotected one for that matter, in the past 4 months. What has then happened or occurred is that there were spirals of strike prior to that, leading to that particular one. And what have led to those strikes is basically that management have ignored the processes within the bargaining chamber to engage with meaningful or jurisdiction industrial actions. So that led to an industrial action itself. So what has then transpired thereafter is that we have agreed to engage with workers to end the strike. After ending the strike, we have then went back to work and say what will be the turnaround business strategy, and how do we make sure that this ongoing sporadic strike do not take place.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Simolu Shaba, who is now the caretaker, who's taken over the board, has now decided to target union members in particular. We don't know what criteria has been used, no consultation with the organized labor whatsoever, and undermining all the processes, closing down the offices of post office in various areas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just take a few steps back here, because we referred to the convicted members in Tshwane who were convicted for contempt of court, for example, and the post office has said another possible 100 employees are going to be internally charged for disruption of operations on January 15th at Cape Mail, for example. So there's a number of processes that are taking place here. Are you saying that the post office shouldn't go after those people who actually crippled the post office's operations during the unprotected strike?
Strange enough, because we as CW since 2005, right up until to date, we've been complaining about over 2.1 billion rands that has not been accounted by the executive management. We have complained about the processes that have taken place outside the bargaining chamber that led to unprecedented strikes. And who have crippled the organization in that instance is the same very management that is now calling for those workers. In fact, it was not workers' fault that they went on strike in the first place. Even the unions did not call for the strike, but we said that the grievances of workers are genuine. So if they were genuine and consistent about their processes, they should have started by filing those managers who have chowed the money of post office, who have run the company to the drain, and then start with those processes. But now what they want to do, they want to hide behind their thumbs and then attack workers, which is not fair.
So they shouldn't be held accountable? Is that what you're saying? Because management wasn't held accountable?
In the Labour Relations Act, consistency is one of the fundamental key aspects of serving natural justice. So if you are going to embark on the disciplinary process, let it apply to all. But if it applies to a specific individuals, then it's a problem. I'll take you back. There were workers that embarked on the strike, assaulted people who were arrested. Post office gave them bonuses and re-employed them and make them permanent. Now, 2 months later, the other ones are treated differently. That cannot be a fair process.
Okay, so there isn't consistency. When are you hoping to get an answer from the CCMA on the strike?
We already have a certificate to strike. What we are going to do, we are going to embark on the process of imbizos, engage workers to consult on that. Okay. One of the main issues that we are going to raise is that we must go back to the geo-restriction areas in terms of the bargaining processes so that we can be able to engage with the company. Okay. Meaningful failure, we are going to embark on an industrial action.
Thanks for your time. Okay. That is the General Secretary of the Communications Workers Union, Aubrey Shabalala. SAA says it's pulling out all the stops to make sure that it doesn't drown in debt. Officials believe they've made some progress 60 days into an emergency 90-day plan. But the return to commercial competitiveness will not be easy.
Nico Pasade notes efforts to repeat the success of budget carrier Mango won't come easy. But SAA's acting boss says some strides have been made.
Treasury have to satisfy themselves that they can see progress in terms of the implementation of that plan. So happy to say that we, yes, could announce the financial results of the year ending March 2014. So step one of the 90-day action plan was achieved, and it was a very simple step. Is get the annual financial statements issued, hold the AGM, restore the going concern status of the business.
The national carrier is hoping to improve its operating performance of 1.25 billion rand. A major feat considering the carrier reported a net loss of 2.5 billion rand for the 2014 financial year. Last year, the carrier's loans were largely swallowed by the 1.5 billion rand of fuel costs. Pasade Note says his focus will be more towards refining the business.
First and foremost, don't fly to places that lose you a hell of a lot of money. Secondly, reduce cost, gain efficiency. In South Africa, we're in the middle of nowhere. We need a flag carrier, but we need an efficient flag carrier.
That means dropping SAA's loss-making Beijing and Mumbai routes, saving 600 million rand. The airline hopes to save another 290 million rand by renegotiating its aircraft leasing contracts. The SAA boss says the staff shouldn't be worried about restructuring for now, but warns he's going through the operations with a fine-tooth comb. Acting CEO Nico Pasade Note says the national carrier will put greater focus on achieving an efficient operation, and part of this will include cleaning up its act financially and cutting on its loss-making routes. The ultimate goal will be for SAA to fly independently without any state help. Muteo Khwaripe, Ekurhuleni.
And after the break, we take a look at a rather controversial policy proposal, the decision to ban foreigners from owning land. You're watching eNCA Moneyline, your money guide. Do stay with us.